I'm back for round 3. So this is the bottom of the culvert. We can see at some level there is a perimeter here, chain link fence, some gathering of rocks, and it looks like it's coming from 2 directions. We have a fork off to the left here that's coming from behind the abandoned house, and then there's a fork up the right, which you can sort of see around there. That is coming from where the concrete culvert was down from the street, and then this is the creek that runs behind the house. All of that back there is this property as well. And it looks, I don't know that I ever noticed this before, but it does look like there's a big honking tree that got felled back there at some point and then left to lay. That's interesting. Alright, so continuing our tour, let's take a look at the rest of the backyard. I think I hear Marcy. And then I don't see any markings back here, so I think we have moved away from where we would be finding any of the making water stuff at this point. And as far as the rest of Mr. Poole's effort, I definitely see quite a lot of mowed, quite a lot of foliage cut back. I think over here against the Walden's fence we can see the pile that Ryan was leaving. Either that or Mr. Poole left us a pile. Yeah. There is definitely a decent amount of debris to continue to consider in the context of whether or not we need to do meaningful remediation before we consider a sale. I think that this tree, even as rotted as it is, came down during our time here. No, well, it's part of it. This was one of the ones that Gray Brothers hauled away but didn't grind the stump. I remember there was a whole thing about it, but I don't remember what the specifics are. But certainly at a contiguous level, the fencing surrounding the perimeter of the property is in abject state, with an abandoned property on one side and a property that is at some stage of foreclosure on the right side. There is some impact to curb appeal that we would not be able to remediate, and there's still some remainder of debris pile and whatnot. I think this was a firewood pile at one point. You can see the retaining band of what would have been a rack, and this tree has grown up around a clothesline pole, so there's all kinds of fun stuff to consider. Some dimensional lumber in the yard. All right. This is a tree that we took down at some point. It had died, pine borer if I recall. It is still a large and attractive backyard. Like curb appeal notwithstanding, there is a decent amount of visible clarity that there is opportunity back here. Some squash on the ground. Interesting. Looks like we do have some big ants and more bricks everywhere. Good times. All right. Well, at this point, I think the next set of questions is surrounding, well, let's do this side of the house as well. But after we do the final portions of, I think I did catch a whiff of something just now. Sniffing. Yeah. It's interesting. This is a little bit far from where I was expecting it. There's a little bit of something. It's faint. We are at the corner of the porch not at the corner of the house where all of that muddy ground was. That's interesting. Yeah, it's super faint, but I am consistently at this location picking up a faint whiff of something. So that's an interesting data point. Anyways, after we take a look at the rest of the yard, I will move on to checking out the crawl space and removing that bar so I can get the broken lockbox down. Interesting. I wonder if this is our grounding. It sure looks like it might be. And that is in poor condition. So yeah. That cable is not attached to that spike at all, and we are attached over here, but it is it's not good. All right, sending another chunk.